Story number 1. Pulling into my street, I slowed down and drove more carefully. The city council still hadn't fixed the dangerous pothole in the middle of the road, despite my weekly phone calls and letters. Our street was at the bottom of a steep hill, causing cars to enter it at an unacceptably high rate of speed, and I worried that one day there would be an accident. Apparently, this was not worthy of attention, as I never got any response other than, "We're working on it." Well, perhaps I'll consider voting for the opposition in the next election. As I approached the house, I noticed a large car parked in the driveway. I wondered if a friend had come to visit Emma. I was well acquainted with her friends, and they hung out at our place from time to time, so it wouldn't have been weird, but the car didn't look like anything her friends could drive. Emma and I had been dating for 4 years and had been living together for the last year. I knew she was expecting a ring soon, and my plan was to give it to her and propose for life. Turns out she was going to give me my own lifelong memory instead. I parked in the garage and walked into the house announcing my presence. "Honey, I'm back from work!" She was sitting in the living room on the couch with a man I hadn't seen before. I had a very bad feeling about this, but I decided to give her a chance to speak before I got angry. "I didn't realize we had a guest. Who is it, Emma?" "Welcome home, darling. Mark, this is Donovan. I think we need to talk." My fears confirmed, I tried to remain calm about the situation, knowing I wouldn't gain anything by being violent. "What's there to talk about? You know how it looks, and I really hope I'm completely wrong about this, and instead you both have a wonderful explanation." "Well, you see, you know that we've been dating for a long time, and I really want to marry you and grow old together. But I'd like to learn a few things before we settle down for good. I don't want to live to be 60 and regret everything I didn't do, so I want to put it out of my mind while I'm still young and unmarried. I've been seeing Donovan for a while, and I don't want to keep doing it behind your back. I thought it was only fair to let you know. I want to propose to you so we can all be happy. Don't you think it might be a good idea to open things up? An open relationship, honestly? What's honest about it, Emma? It's a load of crap. I hope you don't take it that way. You realize that by agreeing to this, you'll have the freedom to meet other women, but I trust you enough to know that you'll come back to me. I won't pretend to like it, but for a relationship to be successful, both partners have to play by the same rules, so I can't deny you what I want for myself. Give us a chance and you'll see how much stronger we become as a result. Even if you're not completely convinced, I'm sure in a few months you'll see this as just a little helpful shakeup in our relationship. Are you even listening to yourself? You're playing by the wrong rules, aren't you? You're having an affair behind my back, and you have the nerve to pretend it's an open relationship so you don't feel bad about it. A little shakeup. God, you're crazy. Have you always been so dumb and I just didn't notice?" Donovan started talking. "Now listen here. No, shut the hell up. This is between her and me, and I've had enough of this. Both of you get out of my house right now. I'm disgusted by your presence." Emma sighed. "I was really hoping you wouldn't react this way, but I suppose it's possible. I've prepared a bag with a few things, and I'm going to be with him for the next few days to give you a chance to calm down. I'm sure you'll understand what it's like for B." "Get out!" With the look on my face, Emma decided it was in her best interest to comply with my demands. She grabbed her bag and walked over to kiss me, but the anger she saw in my eyes made her change her mind. They both walked out of the house and headed to his car. I walked to the door and, trying to stay as calm as possible, I said, "I hope you know we're done. I'll let you know when you can swing by to get the rest of your stuff. I hope you have the sense to ask someone else to help you since that scumbag is not allowed in my house." Emma stood closer to me, near the passenger seat door, while Donovan approached from the driver's side, facing the road. She tried to make one last request. "Honey, please don't make any decisions right now. I know you're upset, and I'm sorry to be the cause of it, but I'm sure it will make us stronger in the long run. I'll give you a few days before we talk, and—" Her words were interrupted by the loud sounds of an engine running at full power. We watched as a red sports car came down the hill at a very high speed, well beyond the speed limit. The deafening sounds made conversation impossible, so Emma kept quiet, waiting for the car to pass by. I watched as the car approached and realized it was heading straight for a large pothole too fast to notice and react. Diving into the pothole, the car spun out of control and slammed into Donovan's car on the driver's side, the side where Donovan was standing, waiting for Emma to finish her speech. Her look of utter horror told me everything I needed to know. A smile appeared on my lips. Perhaps I would vote for the current mayor after all. Story number 2. When Alice woke up, for a few precious seconds her mind was like a fog, but then the memories of the previous day came flooding back. She got out of bed and got ready for school. Her mother, Debbie, was in the kitchen making breakfast, but Alice paid her no attention as she walked by. "Alice, was all Debbie managed to say before Alice walked out of the house. When Alice came home from school the day before, her mother told her to get ready for dinner. They were going out with James, her mom's boyfriend. James had been a friend of her father's since they were both in high school, and he had started dating Debbie the year after he died. Alice took their relationship coolly. She had always liked James, but the thought of her father's friend dating her mother was strange. Alice couldn't deny that her mom seemed happier than ever, so she never brought it up. When they arrived at the restaurant, a nice Italian place, James was already waiting for them. He had always been polite to Alice and had tried to get close to her over the last year, but Alice kept him at arm's length. She was Daddy's little girl and didn't need a replacement in her life. After exchanging a few pleasantries, they ordered their entrees, and Debbie finally explained why they were here. "Alice, I have some big news for you. James proposed to me last week and I said yes. We're going to be a family again." Alice didn't like the way her mom said it, but she pushed her irritation to the back of her mind to sincerely congratulate her mom. Alice was going to college, and she didn't want her mother to be alone, so even with her reticence, she was happy for the couple. Debbie and James began excitedly telling her about their wedding plans, the places they were looking, and all sorts of details Alice had never thought about. The excitement began to subside when the desserts arrived, and it was then that Debbie told Alice the big news. "Alice, dear, the wedding isn't the only reason we're here for dinner tonight. James and I have thought about it and discussed it, and we both want him to adopt you." "Adopted? Are you crazy, Mom? You've been dating him for a year and Dad died 2 years ago. How can you even suggest that?" Alice shouted indignantly at Debbie. James raised his hand and spoke. "Alice, we know this is a big shock to you, but there's a reason I want to adopt you. I'm your real father. Your mother and I got drunk one night. Your father was out of town and we ended up in bed. Debbie wasn't sure which one of us was the father, but we did a DNA test after you were born and it turned out to be me. I agreed to step aside out of respect for the love your mother had for your father. But now that he's gone, I want to be the father I should have been to you all along." "You two have been having an affair all these years behind Dad's back?" Alice asked, shocked. "It wasn't like that. It's true that we met here and there, but not more than once every couple years for over 15 years, replied Debbie. "And that's normal? All I hear is that my mother is a whore and my sperm donor is a scumbag who betrays a friend for sex." With those words, Alice stood up and headed for the exit. Debbie and James were shocked, but by the time they reacted, Alice was already sitting in a cab. From school, Alice went to the home of Uncle David, her late father's brother. After telling him the whole story and asking for his help with some legal matters, they both went to her house and started packing her things. They were almost finished when Debbie returned from work. "What's up, honey? You had me worried and you didn't even answer my texts." Alice ignored her, continuing to carry all her luggage to the door. "What are you doing, Alice? And what is David doing here? Answer me." "I'm moving in with Uncle David, as I refuse to live under your roof for even one more day. He has a room for me until I go to college in the fall, and he has agreed to help me manage the funds Dad left for me for college, so I won't need you at all. I hope you have a good life with your future husband. As for me, I refuse to betray the man who raised me, so I won't be a part of this. Goodbye, Mom." Debbie dropped to the floor and cried as David took his daughter out of her life.